So should we go and maybe do a round of introductions just to...
Yeah, sounds good.
I can start. Okay, so yeah, but everybody knows. So I'm a software engineer working on Trustify, right? And I was previously working a little bit on GUAC in the early days. That's where the connection is coming from, and I hope to be able to continue to contribute to the whole community, right?
Who's next? Am I next?
You are the next.
Hi, Michelle. I'm the product manager for Trusted Profile Analyzer, and I'm under the Trusted Secure Supply Chain, Trusted Software Supply Chain, sorry, for Red Hat. All right, Jens?
Yeah, hi,
You
my name is
next,
Jens. Can you hear me? Yeah. So my name is Jens. I'm a software engineer at Red Hat, working on the whole Trustification version 1, version 2 stack for quite a while now. Mostly in that area of advisories, SBOMs, and the managing of that data.
Can go now. Hello, my name is Ruben. I'm also an engineer working with Jens and Dejan. Not for long, but I joined the team a couple of months ago, and I've been working on the dependency analytics extension and the backend, also with the integration with TPA.
Yeah, and I'm Jeff Mendoza. I'm a software engineer at Kusari. Did a lot of work on different parts of GUAC, a lot of backend with the the in-memory key value store, as well as the end backend. But touched a lot of different parts on the CLI and the UX and things like that. Yeah, and we at Kusari have been running GUAC as kind of a platform or a service, and also have been using it and building on top of it as kind of for software supply chain, I guess, is exactly what it's for. All right, Ben.
Yeah, I'm Ben Cotton. I'm the open source community lead at Kusari. My involvement with GUAC is primarily around sort of governance, documentation, maintaining the web stuff, and then occasionally getting in over my head with like the GUAC visualizer and things like that. So I've been here for about not quite a year and a half yet at this point, but I also participate in some other OpenSSF projects. I'm the lead for the open source project security baseline SIG, and do other assorted things here and there.
Do you normally have more people? You were saying, I joined when you were saying something about the demo. You want to do this when there's a larger crowd?
Yeah, so there are what, 6, 7 maintainers. We usually don't have all of them here at any given time. I know one of the guys from Google, Brandon, couldn't make it this week. He had a conflict. Parth, who probably has touched more lines of code in the project than anyone else, is just welcomed a new baby recently, so he's out for a few weeks. And then we have several other people who can often make it, but apparently could not this week. So
It needs to be like this, like first join meeting and everybody's busy. Yeah, never mind.
And summer tends to be a sketchier time for meeting attendance in open source projects anyway. So
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, I was gonna say, are we getting this time back? What would you like to do?
I mean, so we record the meetings and put them on our YouTube channel. So if y'all wanted to do a demo today, I think that would be fine, and then people can go back and watch it later. And then we could always address follow-up questions in Slack or in a future meeting. But also if people would rather do something else with the next 45 minutes of their life, like I don't think there's anything super pressing. I will say, Dayan and I are giving a talk on the community merge at Open Source Summit Europe in a month from today, I think, actually. So for my sake, I would feel a little better if we don't do the demo this week, definitely doing it next week, just so that way I can speak more clearly about things and have time to understand it all. But yeah, I'll kind of leave it to a consensus decision, I think.
Yeah, so this is demo only of one component of Trustify, because I was thinking, I talked a little bit about Trustify and the APIs and the backend, and you saw the UI. So there's a couple more things that we never actually talked about and are coming to the community. So that was the idea. Like let's let us show you what the whole suite is that we are working on, and then spark the conversation from there. So I don't know, Ruben, it's finally your decision. Do we want to do it now, or do we want to make sure that we have more people next week?
I don't mind. I prepared a few slides and I can talk briefly about it. So it depends on the interest.
Yeah, so let's do it now, at least for a brief introduction, and then maybe Ben, Jeff, you can see with other guys, and we can continue conversation. Maybe dig deeper next week if needed. Michelle, you had your finger up.
So I just see in Zoom it's really small recording, but it is recording. I was gonna say we're not recording. We are.
So do we want to first go with the baseline stuff in the agenda, and then
we can skip the baseline stuff for this week? I think I'd rather have more people here to talk through some of the open questions. And it's not, it's been months since that's been on my to-do list. So waiting one more week won't hurt it.
cool. So Ruben, we want to kick it off?
Sorry, I cannot share. My first time sharing the screen on Zoom. So I might have to rejoin.
No. I think somebody needs to maybe make you a co-host, right? If I remember.
You see now?
Yeah. Perfect.
Good. Okay. So, well, let me introduce you to the dependency analytics extension. It was initially conceived as a IDE extension, but it also includes a CLI, and you can add it to your CI pipelines. Basically, it tries to help you in an early stage of development of an analysis of the vulnerabilities that you might be adding specifically for the dependencies that you might have in your project while you are developing. So initially it was called the Code-Ready Dependency Analytics, but then we moved it to the Red Hat Dependency Analytics. We stopped using the name, but we might take it back depending on the community work that we might be doing, because the Code-Ready is a different team and we don't belong to this team. So that's for Michelle to sort out. As I mentioned, you can include it on VS Code and Cursor because they share the same marketplace, and also on IntelliJ. And we have integration with Jenkins and Tekton through the Tekton Hub and Artifact Hub. The GitHub Actions are not yet completed. We added, slowly, we added support to the different package managers. so that depending on regardless of the package manager that you prefer or the programming language that you are using, you can have this kind of vulnerability insights. Throughout these late past months, we added support for NPM, PNPM, and Yarn, and also for the Gradle Kotlin files. This is a snapshot of how it looks like. You will see red squiggly lines under your version or the dependency, depending on the package manager that you are using, and you will see the vulnerabilities that has been detected and who is reporting. So the vulnerability provider who is reporting these vulnerabilities. At the moment, we are integrating. In the next version, we will fully integrate with Trusted Profile Analyzer that includes multiple sources, and we will show all these sources aggregated in this hover message, and also with more detail in the HTML report that you will see later.
Sorry, Ruben.
Yes.
Can you just for the Ben's and Jeff's sake, so TPA, the Trusted Profile Analyzer that we are mentioning here, that's our product based on Trustify. So it's basically Trustify APIs.
Yeah. So yes, you're right. We should change the naming here.
Yeah. No worries.
Thank you. Yeah. So for this, you will see this in the next slides as well. Then you see here this snapshot is from the old for the current version in production, where we integrate directly with OSD. So when you see a blue squiggly line, that means that the dependency that you are using doesn't have any known vulnerability, but there is a Red Hat alternative that you can use if you want to have if you prefer to use the Red Hat supported libraries. This is a snapshot of an HTML report, the first part where you see the summary. And here we can see that the different sources that Trustify is reporting, is aggregating, and the different vulnerabilities that is coming from each of the sources. This part of the report is what you will see below, where you can use a tab to select which vulnerability source provider you prefer to see at each time. And then you will see detailed vulnerability information with the score, and also which transitive dependency or direct dependency is affected. You see that, for example, this Quarkus JDBC Postgres dependency doesn't have any known direct vulnerability, but has two transitive vulnerabilities, or two vulnerabilities inside transitive dependencies, which are in this case are coming from two different places. Whereas the log4j, which we added, of course, for this demo purpose, has 5 direct vulnerabilities. This is basically the architecture, where we have the two IDE clients and the two CI clients. They both use different Java SDKs, the Java or the JavaScript SDK, depending on the programming language of the extension, that will communicate directly with the backend and will store some data in the cache and talk to Trustify and the Trusted Content Service, which is the existing Trustify V1 version in production. This is what we have now, and what I'm going to show since now are the two new functionalities that we are working on. This first functionality comes from a POC that we presented in the Red Hat Summit, and we implemented an initial version that we will be deploying by the end of this month. This is a functionality that when you are developing and using one or more LLMs, you might be interested in how and the metrics that that they have. If it's not usually published such kind of metrics, so we want to try to aggregate and collect these metrics from all the sources, and if we don't have them, to generate it ourselves, so that each developer willing to use one certain LLM can be aware of the accuracy or the metrics, or the bias, or the the different bias metrics that we can gather from the LM eval report that we have done the LM eval report for a couple of models. We will be integrating more before the release, but this is more like a POC or that we want to share with the community to see if it is useful and how we can grow it from here. So when we detect that you are using one specific LLM that we have the metrics about, and we will do this using annotations, we will add, we will show this small report that you can expand and see with the graphics. And we show some metadata related to how this report was generated, because maybe it's not useful for you for your use case, depending on how it was generated. And we will see the metrics. The colors mean that has a high impact or moderate or low impact. The gray is that we haven't defined any threshold to distinguish about the impact that we have in your case. And then we will show the different tasks metrics that we have. It's not in the screenshot, but you can drill down on the different metrics that you have down below. Also, you might be interested in enhancing these metrics, so to get the better results. And for that, we will recommend you how to use the different guardrails that you can apply on to your existing code. But this is just taken from the documentation. Depending on the guardrails, you will see which metrics will apply, and the guardrails will improve, as you can see here in yellow. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the MCP server integration that we are playing with, because it's not even a POC, it's just some experimentation we are doing. That when you see that that you have a vulnerability marked with the red squiggly line, you can select Fix in Chat, as you can do in Cursor, and using the different tools in the MCP server, will instruct the IDE to decide whether this vulnerability is really a vulnerability for you in your source code. And if so, it will decide whether to just remove the vulnerability, to add a remediation, and then ignore this vulnerability because it doesn't apply to you, or finally upgrade to a patched version. And that's it. That's all what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you. Any questions so far?
Good stuff. So I think we would need to do some work here to better make this upstream project, because at least in my opinion, Michelle might have more thoughts about it, because we usually have like upstream Trustify, and then what you saw, like DPA is a downstream build and a product. I think for dependency analytics, we don't have that. So you should
Right.
Or
Downstream
in-
only, although this is the freemium version, right? There's no, okay, all right. We'll talk to Ruben. Ruben's only one person. I'll talk to him offline and I'll figure it out. How to do a proper upstream, what you need for that, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I think the hardest part will be naming it.
always.
Right. Easier to
So
name a newborn.
So I have a question. So this dependency on the justification version 1, that's for the recommendations, right? We talked a little bit about it, how to move that into a Trustify, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not sure about how to move it, because I think this is one of the endpoints that is still trusting to GUAC. Talking to GUAC. No?
Mm-hmm.
It's using all the SBOM, all the vexes data from the Quarkus SBOMs.
Yeah, one thing to figure out. But I guess the idea could be, sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
I have an 11:30 today, so I'm gonna sign off. So, but I'll be around. Nice meeting everyone. Right?
I also think one more idea was that, as you saw, that there could be a multiple sources for the data. So I don't see why they couldn't be like a pure GUAC source as well added. So this is basically a IDE CI client that can understand dependencies and vulnerabilities, right? So
Yeah. Initially, the initial version was talking only to SNCC. We then added integration with OSS Sonatype and Typelift, but all of them, so the implementations are in the open source project. We haven't removed them. The SNCC might require some changes because they changed how the client should be created and integrated with them. But that's why it is implemented like this, in order to be able to aggregate from multiple sources and show all this diversity. And you can add more. Maybe you want to integrate with your internal company vulnerability sources. So, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Ruben. So do we cut this then shorter then and continue next week?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. Yeah,
Cool.
again, thanks, Ruben. Thanks for the demo. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
Thanks for the interest.
So
Right,
are we gonna put a poll for the new meeting time for the next week, or maybe wait for a bigger group to decide that?
I would say let's plan on next week's meeting being at the same time, just to give people time to respond to the poll and get everything figured out, get OpenSSF ops to reschedule it. My question is, do we want the poll to be like, do we want to have an open-ended poll where we just completely start from scratch, or do we want to just do a yes, no on moving it 1 hour earlier from its current slot?
Yeah, good question. Or do we want a new meeting and keep GUAC maintainers meeting and create a new one some other day, an hour before? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not seeing a need for a new, like a
Yeah,
separate
yeah.
meeting yet. But you know, we do want to make it, you know,
Maybe then let's talk next week with more folks and then go from there. Huh?
okay. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Cool. Okay.
Good to meet
Nice
everyone.
To meet everyone. Yeah.
Thanks,
Nice
folks.
meeting you.
See you around.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks.